Welcome to Garden City, New York. We're on the campus of Garden City High School. It is a beautiful day for football as Verizon Fios One Sports brings you Long Island High School football week number 4. Today we're at Nassau County Conference 2 as the two-time defending Long Island champs, the Garden City Trojans, coming in with a record of 3-0. They get a visit from their recent rivals, the Carey Seahawks, coming in with a record of 2-1. A look at the Conference 2 standings. Garden City at the top, unbeaten. Carey to try to pull even today with a road win. And with that, we welcome you today to this beautiful day here in Garden City. Alongside Rich Donovan, I'm Ralph Bednarczyk. These programs have combined to win the last 4 Long Island Class 2 championships. Garden City, the last 2, Carey, the 2 before that, going undefeated in all 4 of those seasons. But this is a Garden City team that comes in having won 27 games in a row on a super dominant run. Carey has proven, Rich, they can play with them in the past. They look to step up today.
Dave Ettinger and his staff have done a tremendous job. They do have talent, but they coach it up at every level from the middle school, JV, and here in the varsity. This has been a tremendous rivalry, promises to be a physical game. And
physicality is what the linebacker and fullback Devin Hartz is all about to lead the Carey Seahawks. He has had a dynamite start to his senior season.
Devin is all about football, tremendous work ethic in the weight room. He had 8 tackles for losses against Elmont, which is a dominant performance. He will be the guy, though, to tackle the big 3 for Garden City.
And the biggest of those big 3 for Garden City is Trevor Yeboah-Cody. Last year a finalist for the Nassau County Player of the Year, the Thorpe Award. Looks like a clear favorite, maybe they being the most dominant player on the island. Yeboah-Cody coming off of a 5-touchdown first half.
He is a dynamic player. He can go coast to coast every time he touches the ball. He benefits this year that there are other talented players on offense. You can't focus only on him, but a terrific talent.
So it is Carey trying to end the Garden City long winning streak and renew this rivalry with this Week 4 meeting. We're coming back to the opening kickoff and the starting lineups next. The Seahawks and the Trojans on Verizon Fios One Sports. Here comes Week 4 of Long Island High School football from Nassau County today. Carey visiting Garden City to get reacquainted in their rivalry. Ralph Bednarczyk alongside Rich Donovan as we introduce the 2 teams and how about the job the 2 coaches have been doing, including the job Mike Stanley is in the midst of. This is his 12th season as head coach, 13th overall in the program, 2013 Nassau County Coach of the Year, played wide receiver at Stony Brook. He came through Baldwin High School, including winning a pair of Long Island championships and Rutgers Cups in 2013 and 14 here at Carey. And Dave Ettinger. Well, he has just taken the baton from Hall of Fame coach Tom Flatley and taken it to the next level. Dave Ettinger is in his 4th season, the 2016 Nassau County Coach of the Year. Started his coaching career at Garden City Middle School back in 1999 and then became an assistant under Tom Flatley and now taking over 4 seasons ago. Rich, ahead of this terrific showdown and matchup, let's have a look at our Verizon Fios One Sports keys to the game.
For the visiting Carey football program, they have to tackle the big 3, and that's a challenging task, and win the turnover margin. They have been plagued by turnovers in their early season games. For the Trojans of Garden City, they have a young, undersized offensive line they will need to produce today, and their defensive alignment versus the multiple formations and schemes that Mike Stanley will put out there for Carey.
It is a gorgeous day for football here with the calendar about to turn into October. Carey won the toss, deferred to the second half. Riley DeMeo to kick it off, and we are underway to open up week number 4. As around the left side, Garden City will get a nice run back and a healthy return there from Ryan Bice, who will get near the 40-yard line. Great field position for the Trojans that come in, of course, as the preseason number 1 seed, averaging over 42 points per game. And it's now the senior year of Colin Hart, a 3-year starting quarterback. Hart is a verbal commitment to Brown for lacrosse, where he will play with his running back, Trevor Yeboah-Cody. And Hart throwing the ball a lot better this year than he ever has, as Dave Ettinger described. Had a very productive summer working with James Brady, who does a lot of quarterback workouts and clinics, former St. Anthony's All-Long Island player. And Hart this season has only had 1 incompletion, including an outstanding 11 of 11 passing performance against Mepham with 3 touchdowns in week 2. We'll get you the Garden City starters as we get going here today. The Trojans with their 27-game winning streak on the line. And the first give up the middle, that'll be Yeboah Cody, and he'll pick up about 4 on the play. But Yeboah Cody coming off of 5 touchdowns for the second time in his career. A verbal commitment to Brown for lacrosse. He has another dynamic running back that accompanies him, as we'll see Justin Coppola very often in the backfield. This time the play fake to Yeboah Cody. This is Hart sidestepping through a couple of would-be tacklers, and he picks up the first down exactly to midfield. So the rest of the Garden City starters, Coppola and Yeboah Cody, will be frequently in the backfield. Joe Scatteregis emerges as a first-year starting go-to wide receiver, with Cashwell and Holden Overbeck will be the tight end. All first-year starters in the line: Kephart, Murphy, McGovern, Gunn, and Christian Sullivan. Sullivan being the largest at 6'4", 225. It was a first down for Hart, as our officials had a quick word. John Gannon doing the honors today. And Rich, as we've seen this season, we hope we don't have to see John Gannon a lot.
We see the versatility of the Trojan offense. On the first play, 2 lead running backs setting up Yeboah Cody's run, and then they go with a formation similar to what you see now, with twin wing backs wide and Hart with the give and quarterback keeper. A lot of motion. They like to go laterally in the offense.
And it's Yeboah Cody turning the corner on the jet sweep. At that time he lined up in a slot wide receiver position, and he picks up the first down. He's put on a little bit more weight. He's gotten stronger, now up to 6 foot, 185. He was listed 5'10", 170 last season.
The advantage of giving the ball to the motion back while he's going 3/4 speed, and he's able to get to the outside much quicker. They turn the corner. Excellent blocking up front.
Yeboah Cody coming off of the 5 rushing touchdowns at Belmore Kennedy. Has rushed already for 8. Last season, 26 touchdowns on the ground.
Carey playing a straight 4-4 on defense, slanting to the tight end side.
Now the toss to Yeboah Cody, as Carey tries to string it out, and they do. Nick Giacalone was the first man to kind of force him back inside before he is finished off beautifully. Andrew Scarpinto, the defensive end, able to get there. And the defense for those Seahawks in a 4-4-3 alignment. Mejia's had a great senior year. Start with Scarpinito, the other side. Block, a returning starter. Vin Milione now back healthy. Hart's leading the linebacking core of Spano, Di Nicola, and Todaro. Giacalone joining the Bell brothers. Nick, a junior. Kevin Bell, the starting free safety, a senior.
2nd and 12. Garden City goes trips to the bottom of the screen.
Hart to put it up for the first time, and is flushed, chased by Scarpinito, who is able to bring him down, as Hart has a modest gain to set up 3rd and long.
Good choice to pull this ball down. They have trip receivers running varying routes in terms of the depth. Good pass protection originally, but when it breaks down, he goes wide and is able to get positive yardage. And you have to contain outside in. Good downfield blocking, tuck the ball, and aggressive tackle. Carey really swarming to the ball. We don't want to overstate it, Ralph, but this first drive is so important because of the Garden City mystique and the way they've dominated teams in the first half. If Carey can get a stop on the initial drive, it will give them some momentum.
And it could be 4-down territory for the Trojans.
Hart scramble makes this a manageable 3rd and 7.
The play fake to Yeboah Cody, and Hart takes it inside, and it will be a 4th down decision for Trojans coach Dave Ettinger.
Definitely go for it. You're inside your opponent's 30. But again, the swarming Carey defense, getting multiple tacklers to the point of attack. And now we look, Ralph, with the wide side of the field to the top of the screen to the left. And the play calls come in by hand signals, no huddle, and a big play early in the game.
This time, a pair of running backs, Coppola joining Yeboah Cody. Hart will throw on 4th down to the pass, and then it's a hook and lateral, and Carey hoping it's incomplete. They got the ball to Yeboah Cody. Was the initial catch secured is the question.
A daring call on 4th down, the quick hook, and this is the playground play that everybody loves to run, the hook and ladder. Yeboah Cody had a difficult time handling the ball, and this is an important decision right here. And the ruling is the initial catch was good. It was not bobbled, the exchange. And we'll take a look here. The quick catch, and that's the correct call, Ralph. He did have possession, and in the act of lateraling the ball, that's when the ball was dislodged. So a fortunate bounce for the Trojans.
That's James Cashwell that came down with the initial grab off the varsity basketball team. He's a tough forward there, and he was able to outmuscle the Carey defender. So a 1st down to the Carey 17-yard line.
Sound adjustment by Mike Stanley. Defensively, when Garden City puts 3 backs in the backfield, they are putting 10 players up in the box and 6 hands down. But in this situation, because of the proximity to the goal line and you're in 4-down territory, that's a big opening play. Any positive yardage is clutch down here.
Yeboah Cody getting 4 there, stopped by Devin Hartz. As Mike Stanley looks on, his 4-4-3 defense talked about you must tackle, especially Yeboah Cody, but that includes Coppola and Hart. They have multiple terrific athletes. Hart to the outside of the pass, incomplete. He was looking to hit Holden Overbeck. He'll be playing a lot of different positions today. Garden City is without starting tight end Dan Bacafola today, who plays about 4 different positions, offense and defense. And Overbeck, who's also the backup quarterback, fills into those full-time shoes today.
It was a double tight end set and twin wingbacks wide. Similar to the formation here, Coppola the only back in the backfield with Hart.
Hart will throw it again on 3rd down. Yeboah Cody kind of bobbled it for a moment, and that gives Carey a chance to swarm him. He's eventually finished off. First one to hit him be Nick Giacalone, who's going to be watching him for most of the afternoon.
He's able to secure the catch, but by bobbling the ball, he cannot gain any yards after the catch. But the important thing is make the catch, secure the possession, and again, we see the Carey swarming defense. So another crucial 4th down play on the initial drive. We saw the last time where they went for the touchdown call. Good timeout by Dave Ettinger and his staff. This is a very important play to set the tempo for this game.
So the early timeout gives you a sense of how this game, the intensity of it. But the Trojans, as we've been talking about, perhaps on the verge this season of making some new Nassau County and program history. Winners of 27 in a row, having won the last 2 Long Island Class 2 titles. 2 years ago, narrow win over Hills West. Last year, comfortable in the second half over North Babylon, 24-6. But their defense has been something else. 7 points or fewer in 20 games. Some of those even in mop-up in second halves. And the last time they ever trailed in the game at any point was against Carey 2 years ago in the Nassau 2 final. That was a 7-0 score Carey in the opening quarter back in November 19th of 2016. And that's been it. So for Dave Ettinger, they've been coasting along, but they come into this one maybe not as battle-tested as he would have liked. Lopsided wins over Belmore, JFK, and Herrick's Roslyn. Those are teams picked well underneath the top 4 in the preseason poll. And then Mepham going through a bit of a reloading process this year, graduating outstanding quarterback Michael Proyos. So here's the field goal unit. Chase Gardy is on after the timeout, and Gardy puts it through. So Garden City on 4th down, they elect to take the 30-yarder, and Gardy gives Garden City the lead.
A sound choice by Dave Ettinger, put the points on the board. the ability at the high school level to have confidence in your kicking game. Excellent snap, hold, and the follow through. So the Trojans strike first. For Carey, a good stop, Ralph. After the conversion on the previous set of downs, they had their backs to the wall, obviously closer to the goal line, but they are able to force Garden City into the fourth down situation. And down 3-0, we'll see it now, the importance of the initial drive for Carey.
If that last name sounds familiar at all to Long Island High School football fans and aficionados, Chase Gardy is the grandson of the late, great Joe Gardy, former Hofstra head football coach from 1990 to 2005. His dad, David Gardy, right now works for the NFL as their senior VP of football operations. He was a quarterback himself at Brown that came out of Sayville High School. Chase is a kicker, 16 of 18 point afters in his first year in the varsity. We might see him down the road as a wide receiver D-back and try to compete, but there is a new Gardy in the Long Island high school football community.
I had the pleasure of working with Joe Gardy in the athletic department while coaching men's lacrosse at Hofstra. Well respected, was the defensive coordinator for the New York Jets, and then left to work in the NFL offices in the officiating area, supervising. And then when the opportunity came up to coach at Hofstra, he said that was his passion, his love, and he did a tremendous job with the program.
As Gardy kicks off, Riley DeMeo will have to pick it up off of a bounce from the 5-yard line. And DeMeo forced back. Garden City all over him on the special teams. Pierce Archer, backup sophomore running back, the first one to hit him. And Carey will start very deep in their own territory.
We have beautiful weather today, but there's an example. Nobody's used to looking into the sun, Ralph, with the rain that we've had the last couple of weeks. And so by losing it in the sun, you don't get that forward momentum going. You have to secure it. And this is a tough spot for Carey to open up, pinned deep on their own 10-yard line.
The new starting Carey quarterback is Jason Kessler. Week number 1, he led us comeback down 18-14 in the fourth quarter at Valley Stream Central. Last week may have been his best performance against Elmont, throwing for 230 yards. Varsity baseball pitcher with a good arm, 5'11", 170. And he's the new trigger man, and Carey has had several very good quarterbacks in a row going back over the last decade as they start things on the ground. And they will go to Anthony DiNicola. He's their starting running back, only a sophomore. Milione at 6'3", 295 flanks the line with Devaney, Capriati, Humrick, and Tribble. Stein, along with his twin brother, Daniel Stein, they'll essentially split the outside receiver role with Jackalone, McGrath, and Riley DeMeo in a deep receiving core.
Garden City playing bump and run right up on the split ends for Carey that allows them to keep 9 players in the middle of the field, and anticipating the power running game for Carey. Crucial third down coming up. Let's move the chains and get out of this deep pinned against your own end zone.
That was DiNicola with his second straight carry. And for Garden City, they only brought back 2 players with a lot of defensive time last year. That was Yeboah Cody and Coppola, the safeties. So Carney, Damaris, Moscatello, Haas, and Sullivan are all new starters. Griffith filling in this week for the injured Bacafola with Kephart, and then Bice and Scatterigia will be the corners. It's a third and call it 2.
Carey with the shift as they have 3 potential ball carriers plus the quarterback in the backfield. They toss right.
And to the outside, trying to turn the corner, Devin Hartz, right to the sticks. As we check on the spot. And it appears short. So Garden City able to get to the edge, and they will force a 3 and out.
They ran the ball up the middle between the tackles twice, but here they try to use their backs to go off the toss and go wide, and a big-time stop.
Liam Griffith got there first. Yeboah Cody, the finishing blow.
When you go wide, you need to hold your blocks at the line of scrimmage, and you also need to turn upfield. And Garden City, with the outside contained, prevented that.
Patrick McGrath is the punter. And this is a good one. Really good one. Driving Coppola back to his own 41. Coppola. And still on his feet as he crosses the Carey 45-yard line. And the Trojans will go back to work.
That's a big-time kick. But even with the kick and Coppola with a positive return, it's an excellent job by Coppola reading his blockers here. Starts right, makes the stagger cut, and then peels back. But Ralph, the field position game is so important in high school because Carey was pinned off the initial kickoff. They get a good punt. Coppola with a nice return, but already Garden City in Carey territory at their own 44-yard line. So lots of different options, and we do have a flag offsetting penalties that will be wiped out on both teams. So the play stands as is, and it will be a 1st and 10.
So John Gannon tells us, and they've got the spot at, actually no, there's another flag that came in, and now they're setting the ball all the way back inside Garden City territory. I thought maybe they didn't pick up the flag initially, but there may have been a dead ball foul.
So the two unsportsmanlike calls were wiped out, but then there was a dead ball foul against Garden City. Dave Edger cannot be happy about that. So now instead of being in Carey territory, this is more manageable for the Carey defense as the Trojans are forced to start on their own 40-yard line. It still is 1st and 10 because it was a dead ball foul.
That's a costly penalty, Rich. That will end up going, it's a 15-yard penalty with the ball back at the 40 instead of Carey 45.
John Gannon's crew very well respected, and it sends the message early on that we will really keep a tight rein on this game and the interactions between the players on opposing sides.
The toss to Yeboah Cody. And this time he is forced back and eventually brought down. That's Nick Giacalone that got his paws on him, 23 in white. And a very rare occasion that Yeboah Cody is dropped for a loss.
Sometimes, Ralph, penalties can be momentum changers, and they run the toss with 2 lead blockers, and he tries to bump outside, but credit the Carey defense, able to contain outside in and then get multiple tacklers to the point of attack. And that will be so important, tackling the big 3.
Nick Giacalone, last year, week 2, we broadcast Elmont Carey. Giacalone took a hard hit in the first play from scrimmage for Carey, came back in the second half and had a monster game. And a sign and a symbol of his toughness. He had 9 catches for 144 and a touchdown, all in a half, to help Carey beat Elmont a year ago. Here's the toss outside to Joe Scatarigia on the swing pass, and that is a modest pickup of a couple.
Encouraging sign for the Seahawk defense here. They're able to cover wide athletically, Ralph. That time they had 4 hands down and playing a 4-4-3, but you have to make the variation because that time Garden City had twins to both sides. And what looked like blockers ahead of the play, excellent pursuit again by Carey, and 3rd down, value the ball. You have an experienced, poised quarterback, but you don't want to throw it up for grabs here.
Hart on 3rd and 12 with the pocket rolling left. Hart downfield as he looks for Cashwell. It'll be well incomplete. Garden City last year lined up to punt only about 10 times. We'll see if we have that here.
Play action, very difficult to throw across your body. You're rolling left as a right-hand quarterback. Credit Andre Blanc with good pressure, number 67. And for Garden City, I do believe that penalty knocked them on their heels a little bit, Ralph, but credit the Carey defense. And now, in the field position game, this is an important punt return opportunity for Carey.
So this is believed to be the first punt of the season for the Trojans. Again, last year, only about 10 of them in punt formation. And the new punter this week, Joe Scatarigia, with Danny Bacafola out with injury. Sliding grab by DeMeo. As the knee was down, the Seahawks get an important stop and take over at their own 35.
Nice job by DeMeo coming up. It's much easier to come up on the ball, Ralph, than to go back on the ball, and his knee clearly touched the ground. He looked like he had some room, maybe 8 to 10 yards, but secure the catch. The 35-yard line is good field position. It was a short snap by Garden City, but Carey was strictly in a punt return, not a punt block.
So here are the Seahawks at 2-1. They have played 3 very close games down to the wire. Their loss is to the preseason 3-seed Calhoun, 20-19 in overtime. They stopped Valley Stream Central at the goal line week 1, 22-18. Last week, taking care of preseason 6-seed Elmont, 21-19. All 3 games decided by 4 points or less. So as Mike Stanley said, you know, we're lacking the knockout punch offensively at the moment. Good teams do that. We're not there yet. They hope to grow today. And what would be a serious TKO. Up the middle, and that looks like it is DiNicola. He's back to the line of scrimmage.
Carey with trips right to the top of the screen and split left to the bottom of the screen, Ralph. They're trying to open up the field and then power the ball between the tackles, but they're unsuccessful. But we're seeing now much more of a spread look as, again, they go with twins receivers to both sides. Garden City with 3 hands down on defense. And they still like to bump the receivers, 2 twin safeties very deep.
Quick drop by Kessler. Underneath, he has Jackalone for his first catch to pick up about 4. Nick Jackalone, someone Mike Stanley feels he's going to get a lot of attention from Garden City today.
The one-step drop, he delivers the ball for the short gain, but it's the first down play that potentially comes back to haunt you, Ralph, when you were stuffed for no yardage. And for Carey, take care of the ball here. You'd love to get a first down, advance the ball, but you don't want to get in a situation where you give up this favorable field position.
This time, full house backfield for Carey as senior Rich Mejia is in to join Kessler. This is DiNicola blasting up the middle for the first downs. Then he lays a hit and carries a couple of Trojans into Garden City territory.
Credit Mike Stanley. This was the equivalent of an audible. They go with no huddle, but they change the play based on the Garden City defensive alignment, and they go with the shotgun snap and the tailback very deep with 2 lead blockers. But up front, if you get blocking from your center and both guards the way they did on that play, that's a positive sign for Carey. And the momentum shifting.
20-yard burst for Anthony DiNicola. And Mike Stanley says he's a big, strong runner. They need to get more out of him.
DiNicola is 8 yards deep, Ralph, so he really gets some momentum. They look to go deep.
Kessler looking long for Jackalone, and there's a flag down. Two Trojans running with Jackalone.
And on a 50-50 ball, both players are entitled, and this will be offensive pass interference, the push going against Carey.
So against Jackalone, and looks like Garden City's going to take the penalty. Jackalone goes 6 foot 170. And indeed, that is the call.
And that is a 15-yard penalty. And unlike the NFL defensive pass interference where it's a spot foul, here we look at the situation where what looked like 1st and 10 from the 41, good. They tried to go long, and that's a good job, Ralph, because they had the momentum going, but the last thing you think is going to happen is offensive pass interference.
Well, it's set up as first down on the far sideline, which does not make any sense. And indeed, that's what's the call. I didn't see an offsetting foul somewhere else or a dead ball foul. So here is the give to DiNicola. And that's a gain of 3. That was a 3rd down throw by Kessler that had the pass interference going the other way. Or correction, following the DiNicola run, yes, it was a first down.
Garden City shifting now, taking 2 defensive linemen out, putting some pass rush type players in. If you carry now, you need to get a chunk of yardage here to make it a manageable 3rd down. And they go twins trips right, split left. And again, audibling, changing the play at the line of scrimmage. Garden City now rotating up.
Kessler, Jackalone has a blocker. Jackalone trying to turn the corner. So they set up a third down situation. Could be fourth down territory for Carey. Well, talking about this offense, as Mike Stanley describes, annually we try to be in as many different formations as we can week to week. Find the matchups that work well, go with it. This year they have another terrific group of skill players. They're going to go 6 wide receivers deep, 3 running backs deep. That's the end of the opening quarter. So Carey will have a chance to think about it ahead of a third down and long. It is just a 3-0 Garden City lead at the end of one. We're back with Long Island High School football week 4 on Verizon Fios 1 Sports. Garden City with a 27-game winning streak, 2-time Long Island Class II defending champs, as well as Nassau County Conference 2 champs. The lead over the Carey Seahawks in what's been a good one is Mike Stanley coaching this Carey program. He has taken it to unprecedented heights, Rich, with the back-to-back Long Island championships. He's truly created a football community. And a lot of credit to defensive coordinator Tom Aiello, his other coaches, Paul Luzzi and the JV. And he thinks the big key is the majority of our coaches are in the building. They keep all the multi-sport athletes engaged and working. Kessler on 3rd and 18 is hit as he throws, incomplete. The pressure right up the middle by Garden City, and it's going to be 4th down. That's Billy Kephart on the pressure, along with Christian Sullivan.
The best pass defense is a good pass rush, and Garden City blitzing. Good choice here, and he had a receiver. It's not intentional grounding. But for Carey, important to continue to play the field position game. They had an excellent punt on their initial drive. So punting from the 50-yard line, if you can get good coverage, you can keep Garden City pinned fairly deep. Defensive coordinator Tom Aiello does an outstanding job with the Carey boys lacrosse program.
McGrath, not as good of a punt, but it'll be out of bounds, no return at the 25-yard line. And of course, both programs very similar. In Dave Ettinger's case, as he has said multiple times over the years, people don't believe us that we don't work on football exactly in the offseason until the preseason begins. But this year, as it has in recent time, they go up to Torrington, Connecticut, and they do a football training camp. 3 sessions a day for 5 days. They're isolated. They're just focused on football, team bonding, and all getting on the same page and setting goals. And that's where it begins. So it's certainly a chance to take a lot of multi-sport athletes. They're away playing lacrosse or other sports in the months of June and July. But then they get into football mode, and they're able to get into football mode over the last 50 years very well. High snap brought down by Hart, and Hart will be dropped by Rich Mejia, who comes off the edge, and Hart fortunate to get back to the line of scrimmage.
The timing of the play disrupted by the high snap. We see he's got to come down and handle it, plus you're jumping up vertically and have to come down. You're not getting any momentum going forward. Ralph, we've talked about the importance of the summer as training for all sports, but you need to get away from it. You need to have some time to look at those other sports. Clearly, the winter and spring seasons, student athletes will go to summer camps for those sports as well. And what happens in a situation, again, a bobble.
Hart flushed. Hart takes off. Colin Hart's going to get the first down.
Don't overrun the play. Break down and square up when you make the tackle. Carey a little over anxious there, and Garden City able to convert a big play. Actually drops the ball to the ground, but good poise, and when he's able to break the initial tackle, then it's a plus 25 yards. Having an athlete at quarterback is a huge plus.
Hart goes for 27 yards into Carey territory. That's the longest play from scrimmage for Garden City. This time they're trying to set up a screen. Yeboah Cody. And into the open field, Yeboah Cody. Eventually will be bottled up, and again, Jack alone making the tackle. So it'll be a 5-yard loss.
They run the screen pass to the wide side, and it could have been worse than a 5-yard loss. We're seeing two well-coached teams and the ability to tackle in space, the initial pass rush, and Yeboah Cody dodges what would have been a huge loss, avoiding 2 tacklers.
And make that Devin Hart's able to range over. Those two may meet up several times on the field today. So a loss of 5.
As coaches, we talk about the importance of multi-sport athletes. Ralph, Carey, when they had the 2-year run winning the Long Island Championships, they had 3 sport athletes as well as 2 sport athletes, and it really helped them across the board.
We had movement, and that's going to be Yeboah Cody for a false start. Lined up at wide receiver to back things up. Those are really special Carey teams that Garden City had to deal with.
It raised the bar for the Carey program, and Mike Stanley continues to work in a positive way, but you can build off that success, and as you noted earlier, it creates a football community.
Players like Ray Catapano, quarterback at Division II Southern Connecticut State, Nick Spillane, lacrosse at Penn State, they were loaded with athletes. Hart on 2nd and long. And Hart, the pressure from the backside. Devin Hart's got a little piece of him before he's eventually finished off by Mark Spano.
Good pressure by the Seahawk defense. Hart forced again. When you have to go to your left, Ralph, it's very difficult to throw across your body. He tucks it and hoping to sprint to the sideline, but Hart sets him up and finished off on the tackle. So a big 3rd down play, and we often joke, Ralph, on these long plays, where do you look in the playbook if you're the offensive coordinator?
Another 3rd and long for Garden City. They've had several of them already in this first half.
I coached Nick Spillane's dad, Chris Spillane, an outstanding faceoff player for Elmont, and played for us at Post.
And on 3rd down, the quick kick by Colin Hart, and he shanked it. He's frustrated. And Carey's going to have great field position. Dave Ettinger, a great kicker during his time at Hofstra. They tried to get maybe Carey a bit surprised there and try to pin them.
I love the quick kick in high school. It's a momentum changer in terms of field position, but he does shank this. He has plenty of time. Again, a little bit of a high snap, but in his hurry, and he had time, he's lucky he got the favorable bounce for an additional 8 yards. So the Seahawks, from their own 40-yard line, Ralph, they are going to have to demonstrate the ability to break this Garden City vaunted defense.
And vaunted may be an understatement for what they've done and not allowed teams to do. This time they run option with Pat McGrath, who's also the backup quarterback, with Kessler on the sideline, picking up just a couple. The Garden City defense, as we showed you during the streak, has been out of this world. Last season, the Garden City defense only allowed 22 points in first halves. They were that dominant. And for the season, the Trojans defense allowed just 70 for the year, with a little bit of mop-up and cosmetic points in some second halves.
Carey staying wide, Ralph. Trips right to the bottom of the screen, split to the top.
McGrath again, and he's run into a couple of Garden City players. Angelo Damaris, number 78, 6'2", 250 on the stop, as we have a flag down at the end of the play. A hold against Carey will make this even more difficult.
It's an interesting decision. You have them in a situation where they'll be 3rd and long, and Dave Ettinger is thinking about it right now. The option to decline or take the penalty, and they will accept the penalty. It will give Carey another down, but it does push them back and negate some of that favorable field position they started the drive with.
And that defense has only allowed 7 points this season. It was a first quarter touchdown pass by Mepham in week number 2, and what ended up being a lopsided Garden City win. So 2nd and 17 for Carey.
Garden City rolls Coppola, number 22, up to play to the trips receiver side. Yeboah Cody will be the lone safety against this formation.
Back in the game, Kessler. As he throws left, that'll be a completion.
Short gain.
That's James Stein with a catch of the Stein twins. He comes off of a great week 3, 5 catches and a touchdown against Elmont.
He has to go down low to catch it. When your knee touches the ground in high school, the whistle automatically blows. So Carey with another decision to make. Do we try to stretch the field and move the chains, or do we run a safe play, avoid the turnover, and go for the punt?
Blitz off the edge. Kessler stepping up, throwing on the move. Has DeMayo open. DeMayo comes down with it. Riley DeMayo will score the touchdown. Carey takes the lead on Garden City.
This is a big-time play by a high school quarterback. Under intense pressure, very poised, on the run, throws a tight spiral in full stride. A big-time touchdown, toss and catch. This is difficult to do when you're feeling the pressure. This is all arm strength. And we talked earlier, Ralph, that Garden City normally in twin safeties, but against the trips, they roll a safety up. And some positive energy on the Seahawks sideline, a crucial extra point coming up.
DeMayo is also the kicker these last 2 years, putting it through for the first time since November of 2016. Garden City trails in a game, 7-3 Seahawks.
Mike Stanley answered my question with a resounding, "We will stretch the field" on that 3rd and long. And look at the perfect strike. And when the quarterback is flushed out of the pocket, defensive backs have to stay in coverage. There's 8 players up there to defend the run or the scramble. Just stay in coverage. Cardinal rule, don't let anybody get behind you.
Riley DeMayo, the name synonymous with Carey sports. He is the youngest of 4 brothers to play multiple sports at Carey, particularly the last 2. Dylan DeMayo starred as a wide receiver, class of 2014. He was super, playing on those great Carey teams. And now Riley DeMayo, just like the others, tough as nails, going 5'9", 150. He comes down with the catch. Recently, the 3rd brother, Tyler DeMayo, was 2nd team All-Long Island back in 2016, had 15 receiving touchdowns. So Riley DeMayo has been around this rivalry his entire life.
You always tell your teams as coaches that this week's opponent, it's the biggest game of the season because it's the next game. It's true that student athletes will look at it 1 versus 2, the seed, and this is a special game, but these are 2 outstanding coaching staffs, and they were well prepared coming in.
DeMayo also handles the kickoff duties, and back at the 15-yard line, Garden City will get a nice return right up the middle. And they thought maybe the ball was out, but they'll say Carney Ford on the return was down. John Gadden confirms that. So the Trojans just giving up the 7 points to Mepham on a touchdown pass. Otherwise, lopsided shutout victories over Belmore Kennedy and Herrick's Roslyn. And as Dave Ettinger says that, we haven't quite been tested yet, so I don't know how good our defense is and what our numbers really mean for all the new players. It's essentially 9 new starters on defense. So they're going to find out a lot about themselves here on defense, but the offense has been super with 32 points per first half.
Ralph, we had a great overtime upset win over Virginia when I coached men's lacrosse at Hofstra. And Hall of Fame coach Dom Starger, going through the line, said, Coach D, don't let the highs get you too high, the lows get you too low. And this is a perfect example. Dave Ettinger has his team on an even keel. They have explosive players.
This is Yeboah Cody. They're able to lasso him down. Spano, the first one to hit him, as well as more penetration from Andre Blanc. However, a whistle and a flag.
They run the toss. Again, Carey able to shoot gaps, get through at the line of scrimmage. And John Gannon, we've had a lot of discussions with the officials and with the coaching staffs. And we're spotting the ball. Is this an inadvertent flag? Or this is an illegal block below the waist. Ralph, you can block in the neutral zone from the offensive tackle to the offensive tackle because obviously bodies are flying and you're in that area. But outside of what we define as the box, you cannot block below the waist. And it's an excellent rule. It prevents the crackback block and it prevents knee injuries. A good call by declining it because it was a huge loss on the play.
A loss of 6 by Yeboah Cody. And now Yeboah Cody 6 for 13 on the ground. Jump cut up the middle. Justin Coppola, who's in the midst of a great senior year himself. A verbal commitment to Villanova for lacrosse. Big, thick, strong. And he can also split out as a slot man. We were so impressed with him in last year's Nassau County Boys Lacrosse Championship game. His toughness against Manhasset at the face-off X.
This is where having a quarterback like Hart, a versatile athlete, can run or throw, is so dangerous. Garden City going double tight end with the power eye set in the backfield. Doesn't mean they can't throw it out of this formation, and they go play action.
Hart with a deep set, looking across. He has Coppola for the first down, and then Coppola shakes free of a tackle. Justin Coppola will take it the distance. Touchdown, Garden City, as they take the lead. This one also from 63 yards.
Coppola, excellent quickness, and they come out in a run formation, double tight end, power eye backfield. But we see number 22 get through the line of scrimmage and run the post pattern. Hart with the toss and try to get upfield. You can't teach speed, and the breakaway speed puts the Trojans back on top.
Justin Coppola with his third receiving touchdown of the season. Gardy. 10-7 Garden City midway through the second quarter.
Excellent play action to sell the fake. We see Coppola streaking across the field at the top of the screen. And the play action fake on 3rd and long. So we see Garden City answer the bell. Now it will be Carey's opportunity to rebound.
Coppola, as Dave Ettinger described, going to be a lot more in the backfield this season with Yeboah Cody. They're doing some two-back stuff. And with Yeboah Cody, everybody keying on him, Rich. How can you not? 1,271 yards last season. Dave Ettinger said, you know, he may not get the same numbers this year because of the balance we have. Hart, now a senior, is a physically strong running quarterback. He may not even pile that up, plus with the new sportsmanship rules. Yeboah Cody may not play a whole lot of second halves. And I think the other element of that is Coppola's emergence.
Excellent players make everybody around them better. And by having this versatile offense and by having such a skilled quarterback, Garden City has many weapons to use. So as we look here with a 10-7 game, it's still a one possession, but this next drive, and as it goes back and forth, field position so important.
Jack Alone made the first man miss, not the second. Garden City the stop on special teams. Jack Alone dropped just before he got to the 20. So the Seahawks, the long pass completion, both touchdowns going for 63 yards. And the Seahawks, as Mike Stanley mentioned, we need a way to extend the game. and getting Garden City into the fourth quarter in a game of balance. He felt that his team has already been battle-tested with the 3 games they've already been in that have come down to the wire. Total yards fairly even. And we're in the midst of a good one. Might be a great one.
The depth of the roster.
Kessler loses the ball in the high snap. And Carey fortunate to pick it up. So they'll fall on it around their own 10 as Nicola, the running back, got back on it.
This changes the entire play calling sequence, and they were lucky that they got the second bounce going their way, or it would have been disastrous. Talk about the depth of the rosters, Ralph. 57 for Garden City. Willie Blair came flying down on special teams on the kickoff. And even though he didn't make the tackle, when you can have those gunners and those players that force the return guy to go where he doesn't want to go laterally, it makes a big difference. And pin Carey deep.
Nicola. This time he's dropped for a loss. That's Brendan Smith, who only missed the fumble recovery by inches. Now he makes a play in the backfield. A first-year varsity junior that's rotating in as the 3rd defensive end.
Good penetration as they try to go laterally, break down and find the ball. And this is a down where you could look at a potential quick kick, Ralph.
Smith among all those new players in this Garden City defense. Again, it's Yeboah Cody, who was mostly a corner last year. Coppola back at strong safety. That's been it. All the other guys, with Danny Bacafola out today with an ankle injury. They hope to get him back soon. Everybody else playing really the first significant defensive snaps of their careers. Kessler taken down while he was right around the goal line. On 3rd down, it's incomplete. Fortunate to get rid of it and avoid a turnover.
He avoids the safety as well, throwing out of his own end zone. So the momentum that Carey had prior to that 3rd down pass for Garden City's touchdown has swung back Garden City's way. And if they can field the ball cleanly here, Ralph, they're looking at very favorable field position. As a punter, you have to be very careful not to step out of the back of the end zone. That's an automatic safety. Garden City looks like they're set to go with a punt return.
McGrath, low line drive. This is off the hands of Garden City, and it'll be recovered by the Trojans. Trying to field that kind of off the side was Ford Carney. And again, Brendan Smith, this time he is able to jump on that ball, but the Trojans set up with great field position.
We've had some bobbles in this game, Ralph, on shotgun snaps in the special teams game. You know, perhaps a little bit of nervousness. It is a close, competitive game. But the challenge right now is for Carey. You do not want to give up another score here. This is clearly 4-down territory. We've seen Garden City demonstrate the ability to kick a field goal, but the Seahawks have to tighten up here on defense.
With under 4.5 remaining, Garden City with the ball and 2 timeouts.
And the wind that was blowing across the field earlier is now blowing in the direction that Garden City would be kicking it. Yeboah Cody very deep, 8 yards as the tailback. Play action.
Hart hit as he throws into double coverage, and the ball, and it's a jump ball for Cashwell, who comes up with it. James Cashwell, the basketball skills put to use. He wins that rebound battle, 35 yards on the first play.
Garden City going long on the play action, and in double coverage for Carey, play the ball, go up and catch the ball at the highest point of your jump, and what looked like a 50-50 ball results in a Trojan touchdown.
James Cashwell, his first career varsity touchdown. Chase Gardy. 17-7 Garden City. Cashwell was a very good role player on last year's Garden City County Championship boys basketball team.
You can sell the fake when it's Yeboah Cody because he's such a threat as a running back, but in pass coverage, don't go up for the ball until you're in position. You have to sprint to the spot and then go up. And a positive, let's credit the execution for Garden City. And now if you carry, you can't be deflated. You've given up 2 big plays in the passing game. There's still plenty of time remaining in the first half. Let's get good field position. Let's look to move the chains and get in at halftime and regroup. That 7-3 lead disappeared very quickly.
And they've handled Yeboah Cody quite well. That's maybe the part that could be part of the idea of being down on yourselves, because he is such a handful. James Cashwell, injured ankle in the preseason, just getting himself back to full strength. And he had that tough grab on the hook and lateral that led to the first down and eventual field goal on the game's opening drive. Jack alone as he waits for the blocking to establish, and he'll force a couple of Garden City players back, and they'll start from their own 30. Well, Carey over the last decade has risen to the occasion where I think we can still call this a rivalry, particularly in the 5-year period from 2010 to 14. Yes, Carey did go back-to-back undefeated, so that helps that, but still, they proved they can defeat the Trojans, splitting 10 meetings. And they've met in 6 of the last 8 Nassau County Conference 2 finals. Garden City, though, healthy wins the last 3 meetings. But it's created a new team for Garden City to deal with annually. It's really made it a lot of fun in Nassau County as Anthony DiNicola goes up the middle for a couple. And within that, Carey even pitched a shutout right here at Warren King Field. That was back in 2013. The first time Garden City had been shut out at home in that kind of lopsided game going back to 1980.
DiNicola deep as the tailback with 2 blocking backs as Carey looks to blast their way out of here. And we have the stoppage in play at the 4-minute warning. And now we're moving forward as a punting situation right here. You'd like to be able to move the chains, Ralph. You don't want to give the Trojans the ball back.
That's DiNicola that takes it off the left side. 3rd down and 5. Carey still with all 3 timeouts.
And the wind is really picked up. So if Carey is forced to punt, it will be difficult going into this headwind. Same formation, DiNicola deep.
Kessler will throw, looks to the outside, tough grab. Jack alone has it. Nick Jack alone down the sideline, just tripped up. Garden City saves a touchdown. He's tripped up just on the edge, I think by Liam Griffin. That's a big play on 3rd down.
Similar to the touchdown catch we saw earlier, what looks like a 50-50 ball. Jack alone comes down with it. If you go for the interception, you've got to play the upfield shoulder. And Garden City caught. Griffith able to make the shoestring tackle, but play the upfield shoulder, because if you miss the interception, you risk giving up the big play.
It went for 49 yards. And the first down run by DiNicola back to the line of scrimmage. Nick Jackalone, as Mike Stanley said, anytime we're successful is usually because Nick Jackalone is very much involved. Someone that has some college football hopes. Varsity basketball starting guard, plays with great physicality.
Mike Stanley sending the play in from the sideline. Same set, 2 up backs. DiNicola deep as the tailback.
And DiNicola again tries to force his way through. Gets about 4 before he's finished off by Justin Coppola.
It'd be interesting to see if they ran the same type of play action. Garden City had the power eye backfield and ran the touchdown pass. But Carey in this formation has chosen to try to power the ball between the tackles And now in a third down situation, you have 2 plays, Ralph, to get 7 yards.
And before this key play, timeout Mike Stanley and Carey. The Seahawks will get the ball to start the third quarter. So a key set of downs. They do have a strong kicker in Riley DeMayo should they elect a short field goal. Well, Mike Stanley was a wide receiver at Stony Brook University as that program was starting to come along. He's now the Dean of Students and a social studies teacher at Carey. And now in his 12th year overall as the head coach. And the job that he has done has been remarkable to create a football culture. The numbers are still good in terms of varsity, JV, junior high, with many programs across Long Island losing numbers. Back in 2015, that had an all-time high of 58 on the varsity, 80 in the program, as the community is really settled behind it. There's a good Carey crowd here, of course, making the short trip from Franklin Square. And the depth and the amount of guys that can play, and as he noted, the amount of guys we can play one way has been very important in developing the program. This year, maybe not as much, but especially those peak teams of 2013 and 14, they had a good chunk of one-way starters.
The depth of the roster also helps you tremendously in special teams. So you're not putting players out there that never come off the field and get gassed in those big situations. Same formation, Ralph. Split left, split right, but they do have the power backfield, a diamond backfield. Motion deep.
It's the toss to Hartz, looking for the cutback. And Hartz is not going to get it. Back to the line of scrimmage. His forward progress is stopped. Ryan Bice, the senior corner, first man to meet him head on. So on 4th and 7, we've seen what Riley DeMayo can do kicking point afters. He did have 2 field goals last year, including a 42-yarder against Mepham. And that appears like it's going to be the call.
The play was designed, Ralph, to put the ball on the right hash mark. You always know what your kicker favors, and now the wind is blowing directly across into us in the press box. So he'll be kicking across his body here. The hash marks so important in terms of possession and in terms of placement of the ball, and they'll run the clock down to prevent Garden City from having any additional time, and Mike Stanley uses his timeout.
It will be a 29-yard field goal for Riley DeMayo as Carey tries to climb within a possession of Garden City, something that hasn't happened at the half in a very long time, going back to the county final 2 years ago between these pair of rivals.
It's a game of inches, and Griffith's tackle on Jack alone saved the touchdown, but a successful kick here would make this a one-possession game, with Carey to receive the ball to open the third quarter.
Carey's program history, they had some great years under Mark Martone, who started it back in 1957, but then they got to the unprecedented heights of the Long Island Championships and undefeated seasons, 2013 and 14. Been to the semifinals the last 11 years, and they have set the bar very high under Mike Stanley. And you see just the terrific football community that's here. Their JV last year finished 6-2. Their JV a few years ago beat Garden City for the first time, and Garden City's JV has been even more dominant than their varsity, as a sign of perhaps someone threatening to challenge the king.
3 important components to this: the snap, the hold, and the kick. And in addition, obviously, you have to block well up front.
Out of the hold of McGrath, DeMayo. It's no good. From the right hash, he missed it right. So a missed opportunity for Carey, and the touchdown saving tackle by Liam Griffith now leans extremely large.
Good conditions to kick. It's difficult. It wasn't a short attempt. But for Carey, you need to just hold here. I'm assuming that Garden City will take a knee. Yeboah Cody playing deep is the safety on offense to prevent a mishandle on the snap. They're actually short one player here. And Carey does have the ball to open the second half. So a competitive first half. The two big play action passes on third down by Garden City have been the difference.
Hart taking a knee, that's it for the first half. But this is the closest game since that 2016 Conference 2 final against county opponents. And clearly the closest game of this season for the Trojans that head into the half, riding their 27-game winning streak up 17-7 over Carey. We're coming back to show you all of our first half highlights and statistics. You're watching Long Island High School football, Week 4 on Verizon Fios 1 Sports. The Carey Seahawks have played the Garden City Trojans tough as the Trojans entered this game with a 27-game winning streak dating back to the 2015 playoffs. Ralph Bednarczyk with Rich Donovan bringing you our first half highlights. It was only a 3-0 game at the end of one, and big plays generated the scoring in this one.
Garden City's defense had only given up 7 points through the first 3 games, and here we see their tenacious pursuit and gang tackling, forcing Kessler out of the pocket. But he's able to convert, Ralph, showing great poise, avoiding the rush, and hitting DeMeo in full stride to put Carey on top in the beginning of the second quarter. But the Garden City offense on consecutive 3rd and long play action, first Hart to Justin Coppola, who uses outstanding quickness and speed to go coast to coast down the sideline. And then the ensuing drive, what looked like a 50-50 ball, Cashwell able to come down in the end zone to push the Garden City lead to 17-7. On the ensuing drive, Kessler to Jack Alone, who breaks a tackle, sprinting down the sideline. Liam Griffith with a touchdown-saving shoestring tackle, and then the missed field goal by Carey keeps our score at 17-7.
Look at our first half numbers. Both teams have been able to convert in the air on a beautiful afternoon.
Third down conversions for both teams have been tough to come by. Time of possession actually favors Carey. They had some success running the ball early, but Colin Hart has been the difference with the 2 big third down passes.
Garden City, after 3 blowouts to open up the season, they have their hands full with Carey today. Third quarter coming up. Week 4 of Long Island High School football is on Verizon Fios 1 Sports. 17-7 Garden City over Carey as we're about to start the third quarter. Rich, let's have a second look at our Verizon Fios 1 Sports keys to the game.
For the Seahawks, a big check for tackle the big 3. They've done an outstanding job versus the running game. There have been no turnovers on either side, so a plus for Carey that they haven't turned it over, but they have to create some turnovers. For Garden City, the offensive line production has been excellent on the 2 play-action third down passing touchdowns. And the defensive alignment, Jack Alone has done a good job with 3 receptions for 58 yards, and of course DeMeo with the big touchdown catch.
So for the Carey Seahawks, Rich, a missed opportunity, particularly with the Liam Griffith big touchdown-saving tackle on Jack Alone. They don't get the field goal from DeMeo, but they're in the game, and not many teams have been able to do that against the Trojans in the recent 2 years.
Makes this opening drive so important to reestablish their ground game and let Kessler at quarterback make some big plays. Garden City and Carey have both been swarming on defense today. It's been a big play game, Ralph. Nobody's been able to drive the ball. We've had 3 long touchdown passes create our scoring.
Carey had won the toss and deferred to the second half, and they'll get a nice run back here to about the 35-yard line, and where they will get going from Patrick McGrath. So as Kessler and the offense comes out, 5 of 7 in the air with the long 63-yard touchdown connection to Riley DeMeo. And then D. Nicola was able to run the football at times, particularly in the opening quarter, before Carey got themselves in a lot of tough down and distances because they couldn't run it on first down.
And they start with Twins, a passing formation. And we'll see how the Carey offensive line versus the Garden City defensive line, that will dictate this second half.
Kessler comes out firing on first down, and the short grab. And the connection outside, that'll be brought in by Daniel Stein. So both Twins have catches. As Mike Stanley joked, you know, they play exactly alike at 5'10", 150. Tough, competitive kids willing to catch it in traffic. They're both juniors. He has not quite been able to tell them apart yet because their games are so similar.
When Garden City lines up tight to the wide receivers, it's very difficult to go short. You have to try to throw deep, as we see the diamond running formation.
To the outside, Hartz and Coppola crashing in from the secondary. He gets a hold of him back to the line of scrimmage.
When you go laterally, the offensive line has to hold their blocks. And here we see Coppola with a textbook tackle, get your head across in front. The low man wins in this game. So now a very challenging 3rd and 8 for the Seahawks. And they line up again with their diamond backfield. D. Nicola is deep, and Mike Stanley making the adjustment again based on the Garden City defensive alignment.
And they go back to the Carey Wildcat, Pat McGrath, the backup quarterback. He's going to throw out of this formation, fires low. Jackalone was well covered, and Carey, well, there is a flag down at the end of the play.
When you play the diamond running formation, you only have 2 wideouts. It appears this penalty will go against Carey. As John Gannon prepares to make the call. It's a holding call. Clearly, you decline this and push them into the 4th down punting situation.
John Gannon almost committed the personal foul, swinging his arms into the Carey player. You see that?
John, an outstanding football and lacrosse official.
That would had to have been called. McGrath, another good punt and a favorable bounce. And the official keeps going inside the 20 to the 16-yard line. Second great punt for Pat McGrath.
McGrath able to pin Garden City deep. So even though the initial drive is 3 and out, a 46-yard punt at the high school level, you gotta love that if you're the coach in the special teams for Carey. So for Garden City now, we've seen them play out of a power backfield. We've seen them play the wing tee, but Colin Hart has been the guy with the 2 long touchdown passes. You know they would love to get Yeboah Cody going north-south.
5 of 7 for Colin Hart. Came into the game with just 1 incompletion, but his running has probably been even more impactful. 2 critical 3rd down scrambles that extended Garden City drives.
Carey with 3 hands down, a standing defensive end. Garden City with twins left and right.
Hart keeping it himself. And Hart has the first down, and then a late flag coming out. The run was enough for a first down anyway, and now there may be a tack on.
When you go play action to Yeboah Cody, it makes Hart that much more dangerous when they run the read option. And this looked like it's holding against Garden City late at the tail end of the play. So that's a spot foul, Ralph. It takes effect from the point of the foul. So it will result in a 6-yard penalty. And don't grab cloth. Keep your hands in, and perhaps at the tail end of the play. So 1st and 8. Interesting play call. Coppola, the lone setback with Hart in the backfield.
Yeboah Cody, and he dropped the pass. It was a forward pass as he was trying to get his engine going. He had to kind of bobble a little bit there, and you understand all the attention that Trevor Yeboah Cody is going to have on him this season. This is nothing new against quality competition when you're the Thorpe Award finalist, 6 carries for 13 yards. You've had your name in the paper. You had programs like Yale, Syracuse, Rutgers all evaluate him for football before he eventually made the early summer decision to turn to lacrosse and commit to Brown.
He struggled with a couple of bobbles.
Ball to Brown again, and Carey's going to come up with it. There is their +1 they were looking for. Nick Giacalone able to fall on it after Joe Scatarigia could not secure it on the jet sweep.
We talked earlier about the 1 seed playing the 2 seed, and high school student athletes perhaps a little nervous, but both teams have been bobbling the ball. Yeboah Cody on the previous play, and right here, it's a smooth handoff, but it's not a round ball, Ralph, and it takes funny bounces. For Carey, you have to cash in here on this opportunity.
Check that, I beg your pardon. Andre Blanc, the disruptive defensive tackle, 6'1", 240. Like Stanley says, he's had tremendous growth from last year. Someone that was born to play defensive tackle. And the whole Carey front has been disruptive. And they are set up beautifully with a first down at the Garden City 16.
When you can get penetration from the defensive line, good things happen. Carey opens the field with trips left. Straight quarterback run.
McGrath slips through the first tackler. Forces his way near the 5. They'll actually say he stepped out at the 6.
They've had good success with the Wildcat, Ralph. McGrath, this is a straight run. DiNicola up the middle. Nice kick-out block on the corner. Sound execution again by the Seahawk offensive line.
That was Joe Tribble, the right tackle, getting the job done. They say he might be their strongest pound-for-pound player in the program. So McGrath remains in a Wildcat look with a 1st and goal.
They shift DiNicola on the adjustment. Now they roll straight quarterback run left.
McGrath has an opening. The cutback, and Yeboah Cody stepping up from the safety position. It'll be 2nd down and goal from the 1.
They choose to go to the wide side. They change the play. They shifted DiNicola from the right to the left to get an additional blocker at the point of attack. They seal the edge. It looks like he's got all sorts of real estate, but good hustle. Nice job by both Coppola and Yeboah Cody. 2nd and goal.
DiNicola crashes forward into a wall of Trojans. First man to meet him, Christian Sullivan, I believe, off the edge, and 65, Stephen Haas.
The gap is open and the splits are wide, and Garden City fills it with 3 tacklers. And when you're a team that plays out of a formation, Ralph, it always is interesting. Do you go on the center here because you're so tight to the goal line? Because when you do the short shotgun snap, you still have to get your forward momentum to the goal line. We saw East Rockaway last week where they run it so tight, but here McGrath again out of the Wildcat, but he's standing on the 7-yard line.
A 3rd and goal. This one will be enough to force his way in for the touchdown. A 2-yard run, Patrick McGrath, in a series that was Wildcat exclusive. And Carey, with a point after, can climb within a field goal.
This is offensive line play at its best. Look at the seal blocks at the point of attack, and McGrath lowers his shoulder, Ralph. Those last 2 yards he got on his own. Excellent surge and a huge touchdown for the Seahawks.
DeMeo, the tack on, and it is a 3-point game. So Garden City, again, we have to reference back to the game 2 years ago. Last time they were faced in a kind of a pretty competitive game in county. Last year, Mepham gave them a game for about two quarters and a half. Carey has come here to play. They finish off the short drive following the Garden City turnover.
The turnover on the mishandle and the crazy bounces, but credit Carey for having players penetrating and covering the ball. And McGrath able to lower his shoulder. Look at the effort, Ralph. He's 5 yards deep in the end zone. So Carey answers the bell, and we've talked frequently about high school football. You've got to play the game in your opponent's half of the field. And by Garden City turning it over deep in their own territory, they allowed Carey to play for the short field, and Mike Stanley and the Seahawks took advantage of it.
Second rushing touchdown of the season for Patrick McGrath. Had one last year. He's primarily a slot receiver, but also the backup QB.
You have to believe that Steve Fennell prepped Garden City this week for the Wildcat offense for Carey. But after that drive, even though it was a short field, not that we won't see Kessler at all in the second half, but that's an explosive look for Carey because it gives them two threats to run the ball. Short kick.
And it's a fair catch by Garden City, handled cleanly. Out of the air by Holden Overbeck. So what's at stake? So Garden City has been pushed here at 17-14. Their 27-game winning streak, dating back to the 2015 semifinals. Historically, they have a chance should they get through this hurdle based on the way the schedule lines up. The longest program record on beaten streak, 90-92, was 30 games, so they have a real chance of that. And then a real chance to at least be in the county, a chance to get past Hempstead. They'll have work to do next year and the year beyond to challenge the Southside record.
You get the sense that Yeboah Cody has a big run in him. And they start out by going to him, going laterally wide on the sweep. Carey again swarming on defense.
Devin Hart in the backfield again. We said, you know, wow, 8 tackles for losses against Elmont. Is that a real number? It looks like the way he's playing, it absolutely is.
Holding the neutral part at the line of scrimmage, allowing the linebackers to get to the point of attack. The defensive lineman, your job is to keep the offensive lineman off the linebackers, and Carey has done it.
Hart's his second tackle for a loss. Hart rolling right. Hart can't find anybody. Hart is going to be dropped. Guess who? Devin Hart.
Devin Hart is having a monster game here, and we can hear it up here in the press box. The Carey fans, some renewed energy. They roll him left, so you have to set your feet or throw a shorter pass. But again, angles of pursuit, stay home, don't try to do too much, and he runs out of field. Ralph, we saw them so effective on 3rd and long where they lined up with a power I backfield. Now they're going with an empty backfield. Now they bring Coppola in tight. So Garden City twins left and right, Coppola and Hart in the backfield. They need a big play.
Halfback toss, the toss back Yeboah Cody, the catch by Hart, Colin Hart. It depends on the spot, the quick toss back on the halfback option, and the spot appears like it is, if it's not a first down, it's inches.
They made the adjustment. Dave Ettinger, excellent call. They started out with Coppola, then they added Yeboah Cody, and they ran the quarterback alley pass for the throwback. And now John Gannon is asking for a measurement. Coaches can request a measurement. You don't have to give it to them, but this is obviously a big game and a crucial potential 3rd down, 4th down play. 3rd down leading into the 4th down, and John Gannon doing the right thing, bringing the sticks out. I believe Garden City goes for it here, Ralph, if it's 4th and short.
If it's not a first down, it's from the naked eye, perhaps less than a foot.
It's a long run across the field, and the back judge will attach the clip, so it's the furthest distance from the yard line itself that you use as a guide to make sure that the box is set correctly.
It is short.
Yeah, it's a foot and a half, Rich. But as you touched on, I think we'd both be stunned. This entire crowd will be stunned if Garden City does not go for it.
And that's the length of the heroes that Dan Lippenholtz, our producer, usually provides for the crew. That's the measurement, the analogy that we like to use. So John Gannon very carefully will set the ball, and a huge play in this game, Ralph, halfway through the third quarter. Set up by the hard run. It was a very long third down play, so if you're Garden City, you have to be happy that you're this close.
Yeboah Cody in last year's county final completed a touchdown pass as Mepham was ganging up on him, and that proved to be a backbreaker against the Mepham Pirates.
If you carry, don't go for the hard count here. Don't go offside. Be disciplined. Garden City comes out in the straight eye backfield, and they have a lineman, number 55, Christian Sullivan, in the backfield. He's the fullback lead blocker.
They'll snap it. Yeboah Cody, a first down, and into the secondary. And now the breakaway speed. Trevor Yeboah Cody on fourth and a foot and a half. He takes it 57 yards, and Garden City counterpunches.
The throwback pass to Hart is what set up that opportunity. And when you pack the box, and Carey, Tom Aiello, defensive coordinator, does the right job here. You're up to stop the run, but we always say if the lead blocker gets through the line with his shoulders square, the ball carrier can as well. And with his breakaway speed, so what looked like a very challenging third and long and potential punting situation, the Trojans can convert.
Gardy makes it a 10-point spread again, 24-14. Trevor Yeboah Cody, as you touched on, Rich, you expect he's going to pop one somewhere. Perhaps Long Island's top running back this season, with all the attention focused on him from defenses, and then the ability to break away.
We noted that they put a lineman in, and Christian Sullivan, number 55, got a pancake block at the point of attack that really set up the run. If you carry, you've demonstrated you can answer the bell. You were down 3-0, you scored. You were down 17-7, you scored. It puts a lot of pressure on your offense.
And Yeboah Cody is one of two Garden City players that need a bit of a stretch. It is a very hot afternoon, and the kind of day where cramping is possible. But prior to that run, how about Garden City able to contain Yeboah Cody?
Carey's swarming defense, their athleticism, Tom Aiello's defensive scheme, the ability to get multiple tacklers to the point of attack, particularly on the lateral plays that Garden City's had tried to run, their attempts on the sweep and the toss. Center wedge again for Carey on the return.
Jack Alone returns to about the 27. Prior to that burst by Trevor Yeboah Cody, he was 7 carries for just 10 yards. But a man with a target on his back. Dad played at Penn State. Had an uncle that played at Penn State too. 2 sisters that were track stars, comes from a super athletic family. But he chose lacrosse, just loves the creativity of the game. But Ivy League football champion, Yale wanted him. Did football camps early in the summer at Harvard, at Yale. He's also an outstanding student that tried to sort out all of his great options.
Carey back with Kessler at quarterback, their traditional set.
Slant right, and that's off the hands of the slot receiver, sophomore Nick Cowan. And it'll be second down.
And the collision, when you go with a trips formation, lots of bodies, trying to go crossing pattern here. Kessler with a little bit of an errant pass. Throw in the collision. Hopefully both players will be able to bounce back up.
Pair of players hurt. Nick Cowan, slot receiver for Carey, and Billy Kephart. This could be a loss, Rich, for the Trojans. Kephart starting inside linebacker and left tackle. And Garden City already down, as we touched on earlier, Daniel Bacafola. Their most experienced linebacker, Liam Griffith, starting in his spot today, as Garden City will try to slow down Carey's power run game.
The Seahawks with Kessler at quarterback, twins left, twins right. DiNicola, the lone running back in the set. It appears that with this personnel in the game, they're looking to throw the ball.
Out to the flat and a throw behind McGrath. And Coppola was in the vicinity.
Trying to keep the moving pocket, but more difficult to throw from a running or sprinting position. So now a 3rd and long. We noted earlier, value the ball. You cannot turn the ball over deep in your own end, but you're looking to stretch the field here. And they had that big play to DeMeo in the first half, Ralph, in a comparable 3rd and long situation. If you're Garden City's defensive backs, know where the sticks are. 10 yards for the first down.
Kessler steps up and the ball is out. The ball is out. Look like Christian Sullivan jarred it free. Garden City recovers. Sullivan on the recovery.
Sullivan with 2 big plays, the pancake block on Yeboah Cody's run, and now this hurried pressure. And if you're Carey right now, you're struggling. You see the good penetration, forcing him to step up in the pocket, but you have to be able to tuck the ball, and this places enormous pressure on the Seahawk defense.
Connor Gunn, backup D lineman, forced the fumble. Sullivan able to recover, and Gunn back to his right guard position. One of the more physical Garden City linemen they have in the program. And they're on the smaller side this year up front, aside from Sullivan. Dave Ettinger was considering playing him at tight end, but they need him on the line. And he'll be in a fullback sense on short yardage in some cases, like right now.
Stay with what works.
Yeboah Cody running behind Sullivan, and he will patiently pick up 5.
This is the running game that in 4-down territory, and you can exploit the Carey defense. You can run the clock here. Everything in favor of Garden City right here in terms of being able to finish this drive. And the fatigue factor, Ralph, both these teams have deep rosters, and they've played players in multiple positions, and they've been able to sub, but this is crunch time, and if you're a lineman, it's been a long afternoon.
Toss left. Yeboah Cody turning the corner. Hartz forces him out, but that'll be another 5. And very close to another Trojans first down. And he just seems to glide, Rich. We haven't seen the burst besides just that one long touchdown run.
Watch the seal block by number 20, Liam Griffith, going left to right across the screen. And for Garden City right now, maintain possession, run the clock. I'd be surprised if they threw the ball here, Ralph. 3rd and short, they've been very effective with play action, but this is a situation where you can power the ball.
Toss right again. Yeboah Cody cuts it back inside and buried after a yard or so pickup. Of course, his great running technique, you have to go back to his family background. Can't forget about Mom Leslie. She ran track here in Garden City. Sister Alexis went to Columbia to long jump, and she started St. Anthony's in high school. And Sister Alyssa, she runs track at Penn State.
They've had more success running between the tackles than running wide, but it's set up the first and goal situation.
Hart on the rollout. Hart then throwing to the end zone, knocked away. Kevin Bell, the safety, got over and took the touchdown away, but there is a flag out.
They have really looked to roll Hart to the left today. And we talk about when you try to throw the ball, three things happen. Two of them are bad, but if this is a holding call against Garden City, it's going to push them back, and that's the danger of trying to throw the ball. And it is an ineligible receiver downfield is the call. If you're an offensive lineman, you cannot go downfield in a passing situation. If he tucks the ball and runs it, it is legal to be downfield to throw a block.
A first and goal from the 14.
Yeboah Cody is deep. Sullivan and Coppola in the backfield. You have a big bruising lineman and you have a very quick athletic player.
And just trying to blast up the middle, running behind the center, Matt McGovern. Short pickup, and certainly while this is a 10-point margin, you feel like the game could be, or is hanging in the balance during this drive, even though there's plenty of time left.
They have an excellent field goal kicker, but Ralph, you much rather be up by 17 than be up by 13. So for Carey right now, if they could force the field goal attempt, even if it's successful, it's still a two-possession game.
Hart trips as he tosses right. Yeboah Cody, the cutback, jumping in the air. He's in for the touchdown. That final takeoff got him across on a 12-yard run. Carey thought he may have been down. In the world of college and NFL football with replay, they might have a case. And actually now they're going to spot the ball. The far side official had made the signal. And it's going to be third and goal. So they have corrected it.
They struggled going wide, but here to the wide side of the field, he makes an excellent adjustment. He's up in the air. His knee is down before the ball crosses the goal line. So when you leap in the air, Ralph, it's the question of where your knee comes down. So now we're looking for power with Sullivan leading as the blocker. For the quarterback sneak.
Hart will try, and Hart punches it in. So he finishes off the drive, and now Garden City in great position, 30-14 with a point after coming. They take advantage of the Carey turnover.
When you play the game in your opponent's half of the field, good things happen. This is the correct call. Don't risk the handoff. Colin Hart has proven that he's athletic enough to make the play running behind McGovern and Gardy on for the extra point.
Second rushing touchdown of the season for Hart. Chase Gardy makes it 31-14. Well, Carey was hoping to be +2 or better in the turnover category, in the turnover margin. The recipe to pull off an upset and to end Garden City's 27-game winning streak. You need some breaks, and then on your end, you can't give them a short field.
This will change the Seahawk play calling. They will need to throw the ball here with a 3-possession game. And for Garden City, will give them the opportunity to rush the quarterback.
Hart passing, rushing, and remember the key reception of 17 yards from Yeboah Cody that set up the previous drive's touchdown. But this was mostly power from Yeboah Cody. And to wrap up this drive, that was Bell with the knockaway before Yeboah Cody had the toss.
And with Coppola in front of him, makes the leap, doesn't get in, but the advantage of 4-down territory. They were inside the 10 for 1st and goal. The all-important special teams on the kickoff for the middle wedge again from Carey.
Jack Alone weaving his way through the Garden City special teams. And he gets across the 30. But now Carey, and trailing here now by 17 points. They've proven over recent time they have an explosive offense. And Jason Kessler's got a big arm. He had 3 touchdowns against Calhoun. Week number 2, he threw for 170. And the 230 yards in the air with 36 dropbacks last week against Elmont. And the other thing this does, this takes McGrath and the Wildcat perhaps out of the equation a little.
Lots of pressure on the Carey offensive line here. They come out in the diamond backfield with 2 split receivers.
And they'll stay with power. Hart's cut down in the backfield. Justin Coppola.
Coppola, very sound open field tackler, demonstrating the ability to make the hit in space. Looks a little bit like a read option, but he's able to get across, head in front, the key to prevent having to tackle just with your arm. And his quickness allows him to take the correct angle.
They've lauded Justin Coppola's heart. He wrestled through middle school. Outstanding lacrosse midfielder and face-off man. Kessler back on the field and gives to DiNicola. A short pickup to set up a 3rd down and long as we will get to the 2-minute mark of the 3rd quarter. This was a 17-7 Garden City lead at the half. It was only 3-0 at the end of one. Garden City trailed for the first time since the 2016 county title game today. They trailed 7-3. But Garden City in the next possession got a 63-yard touchdown catch from Coppola. That made it 10-7.
Carey staying with the split left, split right, single receivers to each side and the diamond backfield.
Kessler looking for DeMeo into double coverage, and it's out of bounds. Scatterigia came down with it. So it'll be 4th down, and you're trailing by 3 scores.
When you have single receiver split to each side, this is only a 2-man pattern, and Garden City in double coverage. So they chose to go for all of it rather than trying to get the 1st down. It forces them into a punting situation. They've been very sound in the punt game today. Good hang time.
Another good one. A fair catch for Garden City. Brought in by Coppola, so the Trojans at their own 39-yard line, and another long drive, and they can start to think about the finishing touches of this game.
That's the football IQ you need from your senior captain, because if he lets the ball bounce around, there's always the possibility it's going to bounce and hit one of your teammates and be a live ball. So to make the fair catch call, and as coaches, we believe that you don't have to give us return yardage, just field the ball cleanly, and that's exactly what he did to secure the possession. and get the Garden City offense on the field. And for Colin Hart right now, you don't need to make any more big plays. You need to run the ball, run the clock, no turnovers. You'd love to score, you'd love to move the chains, but right now you're in the driver's seat up 31-14.
And they do start on the ground. Yeboah Cody reverses field, and he's able to pick up 4. As Carey has consistently been in the backfield.
There's a good bounce right here. There's nothing between the tackles. He looks to bounce and go wide. Carey, with the exception of the big run that set up the Colin Hart quarterback sneak, has been very sound defensively against the sweep toss game for Garden City.
And Yeboah Cody, as he came over to the sideline, we showed him earlier trying to stretch out what appeared to be his left leg in the vicinity of possible cramping. So he goes to the sideline. Coppola now the deep back. And on the toss with Sullivan leading the way. And Coppola calmly picks up another Garden City first down, as this will take us inside the final minute of the third.
The toss, Sullivan is probably going to ask for a numerical change on his jersey route because he is thriving as the fullback. But when you can get upfield, just follow your lead blocker. So Garden City looking now to grind the ball and the clock.
With Yeboah Cody still on the sideline. Fresh set of downs as Garden City has gotten 2 rushing touchdowns in response to Pat McGrath's 2-yard run. That made it 17-14 early in the third. And Coppola. And Coppola maintaining his balance, and he's going to create a big play. Justin Coppola, chased from behind. Near the goal line, he'll be spotted a yard short. What patience to create a big play. First and goal, Garden City.
With Yeboah Cody out of the game, Coppola has become the carrier, and he's caught a little stagger step. But again, if you carry, you have to break down in the open field when you tackle. And Coppola here looks like he slows down, Ralph, for some reason. Maybe he's cramping up. But we've seen him sprint to the goal line earlier. Credit Carey with some great hustle. You never look back. The only thing you want to look for is the end zone.
That was Joe Todaro, sophomore outside linebacker that caught Coppola. So we'll have a first and goal from the 2 when the fourth quarter begins. Garden City trying to extend their winning streak to 28 games. Shaky start with a fumble, cashed in by Carey, but the Trojans have responded. 31-14 into the fourth. Garden City, 2-time defending Long Island Class 2 champions. The preseason #1 seed in Conference 2, battling preseason 2 seed Carey with a 31-14 lead. Dave Ettinger in his 4th season, they brought back a skilled group of outstanding players to add to this team's legacy. But last year they accomplished something they had never done before. The first time they had gone back-to-back, winning a Long Island championship. 6 Rutgers Cups. That means you're the best Nassau County team out of the 4 different conferences. And remarkably, they've played for the title 31 times out of the last 37 years, missing the playoffs just once in 2002. And that doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon. A first and goal from the 2 to begin the fourth quarter. Coppola got the toss, he started it, and he ends it. The 2-yard run to make it 37-14.
Garden City's offensive line and the running game have taken over here in the second half as Coppola finishes. Quick toss and the ability to get behind your lineman. In a Coppola's case, very difficult to see him behind the lineman, but the quickness, able to get to the hole, and continued excellence in the kicking game puts the Trojans up 38-14. So Ralph, up until this point, we had a competitive game, but the turnover really hurt Carey, took the momentum away after that strong start to the third quarter.
How about the balance? Coppola, the 63-yard touchdown to go along with the run, and then he's played a very strong defensive game too.
When Carey has played wide, he's made some excellent open field tackles. And the ability to read the play, to get his body across, and take down tacklers one-on-one in the open field. This was the play where they set him up in the backfield, and he got through the line in post pattern for the touchdown on 3rd and long out of the play action. He's been a versatile player on both sides of the ball today.
And as we said in our keys, Rich, Mike Stanley said we got to be able to tackle their big guys. As we said, their big three of Hart, Yeboah, Cody, and Coppola, and all three seemingly appeared like they were contained, and then they come up with a big play in different ways.
These teams could meet again in the playoffs, Ralph, and we're approaching the end of week 4, so it's an 8-game regular season. If you're Carey, you're still working to improve, play hard, don't play to the scoreboard. They have some challenging games remaining, and they've been in 3 very tough games up until this point.
They're able to get on and eventually recover this bouncing kickoff. James Stein tried to get outside, and he got past the 10-yard line. And these two teams have a great playoff history over the last decade. They've seemingly been on an inevitable collision course consistently. 7 of the last 11 years they've met in the playoffs.
Nobody has a crystal ball. Is it fair to say that perhaps this could be the toughest opponent Garden City will see in the regular season? Perhaps. Calhoun has a 1-point overtime win over Carey, and there are well-coached teams, Mepham, Elmont, etc. But as the season has progressed to this point, they have been dominant, and Carey has certainly challenged them here today. But you have to play a perfect game. You can't turn the ball over, and the plays that swung it, the touchdown-saving tackle, as we look at upcoming games, Bobby Fehrenbach and the MacArthur Generals at 3-0. They're a traditional powerhouse in Conference 2. And the season-ending game versus Mepham.
MacArthur, the preseason number 5 seed. So certainly after this result, the race starts to shape up for the 2 seed, and that could be very significant, Rich. You're going to face the Trojans. Of course, you'd like to do it in a county final. So there's a real advantage to being the 2 or the 3 versus the 4, should things set up that way for Mike Stanley's bunch.
Since we shifted to the 8-team playoff, 8 out of 14 teams qualifying, there are some lopsided matchups in the first round with 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7. Not that you can't have an upset win, but you make an excellent point, Ralph. If you're projecting going forth to the semifinals and the finals, in Conference 2, you'd like to stay out of the 4-5 slot and avoid the potential semifinal matchup with Garden City.
Carey will keep it on the ground here after a loss on first down. And that's Connor Huckemeyer, who comes in to play some Wildcat quarterback. So Conference 2 standings at the start of play. MacArthur against Carey is going to be a fascinating one. And Mepham, their losses to this Garden City team. Coach Anthony Krakow he's established a very great football culture there, but they're still fitting in a new quarterback graduating Michael Proyos, who's off playing in college. So MEPA by the end of the season should be much better. And Garden City versus MacArthur at the end of the season. Could that be a pair of 7-0s? That'll be interesting. It's been a while since Garden City's kind of had that kind of great end of regular season game.
Keep in mind the injury factor as well, Ralph. It's a long season. Both these teams benefit by the fact that they have deep rosters, but a key injury usually weakens you at 2 or 3 different positions.
That's what happened to Carey last year. They finished a surprising 5-5, but Mike Stanley pointed to 3 big injuries they suffered. We've seen Vincent Milione today, starting left tackle and defensive tackle. They were 3-0 with the now 6'3", 295 Milione in the lineup. And without him, they finished 2-5. And then Rosario Deanna, who would have been their starting middle linebacker, missed the entire season with a preseason injury, and they had another lineman out. So that kind of ruined the Carey season. And they were not able to effectively run the ball against the quality opponents. McGrath off the side of his foot. And Garden City's going to be set up with another short field as they look to put the finishing touches on a game that was very competitive early for 3 full quarters. And Dave Ettinger was worried. I'm not sure how battle-tested we are compared to Carey. And I think they got that today.
The big games for the big-time players. And Dave Ettinger had his team well prepared today. There was no panic when they got down. Stay consistent to what you're doing.
Speaking of Dave Ettinger, had a nice chat with him about what Joe Gardy meant to him. Of course, now he is coaching Joe's grandson, Chase. Dave Ettinger was an outstanding All-American kicker at Hofstra. Had a chance to get some NFL tryouts. 4-year starting kicker there for Coach Gardy. And he has now been ingrained in the Garden City system since 1999. He came through Colmac, and he was a big soccer guy prior to his senior year before he decided to give football kicking a look. As off the right side, Garden City will take it for a couple. Back then, when Ettinger was in high school, they did not have the rule as they do now that you can still have a soccer player kick on Saturdays. It was either one or the other before I think they wisely gave soccer kickers that ability to come over and be just part-time football players.
It allows student athletes to participate in another sport. Usually you'd have your kicker come over a couple of days during the week after soccer practice and to work on field goals and extra point conversions. It's a specialty position. As both coaches now managing the game correctly, giving their second line players the opportunity to compete. And this playing time, these quality minutes, Ralph, are so important. These players are invested in practice. They go through the same weight training, off-season conditioning, and when you get game time, then if you're ready to go, if there is an injury. The bench is a great motivator. The more competition you can have in practice, and that's what's hurting some of our schools in Nassau now with the decline in participation in the sport of football. Some very small rosters in the low 20s across the county.
Gavin Paskowitz has come in at quarterback, and Pierce Archer, the number 3 or 4 running back, you could say, in the pecking order for Garden City. And they're excited about Archer's future. He's gotten a lot of carries in the second halves of these games that Garden City has been able to mop up. But with the Trojans they got to graduate 3 primo ball carriers. He's going to fill big shoes the next 2 years.
Had a nice visit with Bob DeFelice. We coached against each other many years, and now he's his 5th year as the head JV coach, and he does an outstanding job with that program and the consistency and the continuity of instruction for players as they're part of this very successful program.
Get some movement up front. Yeah, the Garden City JV, that might be the story, Rich, in terms of dominance. They have had something like multiple 50-game winning streaks in their career.
And in a time where, because of the decline in numbers, Ralph, for many schools, you need to bring players up from the JV in grades 9 and 10, or during the course of season, if you suffer injuries at the varsity level, you need to tap down into the JV again to get players. So when you can have deep rosters at both levels, it really helps your program moving forward.
After movement up front. And on first down, Michael DeLuca, the sophomore running back, as he picks up 4 as we'll quickly pass the midway point of this fourth quarter in a game that was very interesting at 17-7 at the half and then 17-14 following a Garden City turnover, and Patrick McGrath of Carey punched it in. But credit Garden City, they were pushed today and they had to respond twice, making big plays, and the downs and distances were not highly advantaged situations as Pierce Archer carries again. Maybe the biggest play when we look back at this one, Rich, was Dave Ettinger's guts to call the halfback option on 3rd and 18, the throwback by Yeboah Cody to hit Colin Hart. That went for 17.5. And the next play, Yeboah Cody bursting for 57 yards for the touchdown.
Utilize your personnel wisely, and Dave Ettinger did that. Colin Hart throwing, running, and in that instance, catching the ball. And as we get to the halfway point, Ralph, we've had an opportunity to do the Freeport-Farmingdale Conference 1, the East Rockaway Island Trees Conference 4, and now Carey Garden City Conference 2. And now is the time where these games moving forward will start to position teams for the playoffs. Certainly Freeport has been dominating in Conference 1 with a convincing win over Farmingdale, a shutout win over Oceanside. Farmingdale bounced back with a win over Massapequa. In Conference 2, it's been Garden City, and certainly challenged today by Carey. Conference 3, we affectionately refer to as the Black and Blue Division. And with Wantor moving from Conference 2 to Conference 3, it did shift the balance again. Wantor and Garden City had some great matchups over the years as well. In Conference 4, Seaford, with a convincing win over Clark, has certainly established themselves that they deserve that preseason #1 seed.
Carey makes the stop with Anthony Olea, the hit for Carey. So the Seahawks to take over with 4 minutes and change. And I think both teams will get a lot from this game moving forward if they do meet in the playoffs to set up that second meeting. And from Mike Stanley's perspective, look, very few teams have given Garden City a game or sniffed the game in the last year plus. And for 2.5, nearly 3 full quarters, his team was there.
Absolutely. If you're Mike Stanley, you will actually went to positives of this game today. You will certainly look at the film and working to improve and compete for next week's game, but at the same time, looking at a potential rematch down the road.
Connor Hunkemeyer again remains in as a Wildcat quarterback. And while this was not a high turnover game, but Carey in there struggles to finish teams through their first 3 games coming in. They had fumbled it 6 times, 2 fumbles a game. And the fumble they had in the fourth quarter when it was still a 10-point game that set up the Hart 1-yard touchdown run appeared like another game or another play that will end up as a difference maker.
They've also unveiled the dimension of McGrath as the Wildcat quarterback, Ralph, which you can use moving forward. So what you establish in a game like this against quality competition on both sides gives your team more confidence and makes you tougher to defend as teams prepare their scouting reports.
Carey with the run to the outside as Frank Scarantino, a junior, takes it left, and he should have the first down.
You coach the scheme and you have a system, and this is a nice job bouncing to the outside. Put the ball in the outside arm. And Garden City with good angles of pursuit, but we've seen multiple players substituting on both sides of the ball. And tremendous mutual respect between these 2 programs and these 2 coaching staffs.
The Trojans move to 4-0. Keep it on the ground and a big hit right as the ball carrier crossed midfield. Big stick. Number 42, Ryan McCormick. He's wearing Andrew DeSantis' all number 42. All Long Island player that graduated last year. So, past the midway point, Garden City will have Elmont in preseason. Number 3 seeded was Calhoun in week number 6. And then a potential collision course game if the schedule lines up. MacArthur Garden City as a playoff tune-up. And that could even be for the number 1 seed.
Respect all your opponents, fear none of your opponents. Outstanding coaching throughout Nassau County, as coaches now will start to manage the injury factor and look at some of these repeat matchups upcoming in the playoffs.
And a run to the outside for Joshua Calderon. And another first down. But this starts to become spectacular for Garden City. They have yet to be pushed even into a fourth quarter. The last time they trailed in the second half, you have to go back to the regular season game against Carey 2 years ago, September the 24th. That was a early third quarter 6-0 Carey lead before Garden City ran away with it. And the last time they trailed in the second half of a playoff game, the last game they lost, 2015 Nassau semifinals. They gave up a long touchdown to Wantagh. They lost that one 18-13, but they had 2 possessions after that play. So is that a concern for any team when you dominate so much and you may come across that one competitive game on a neutral field in the fourth quarter?
Dave Edger and his staff will not allow them to be complacent. They'll be sharp. They have the advantage of getting quality reps in practice, and you can stay sharp as a result. And these programs have the consistency, Ralph, and they have a system that they work on. And there's individual technique, group work that you do. You only play 1 game a week, so you have a lot of time to polish things up.
Inside handoff again, and Frank Scarantino picks up the first down for the final play of this one. 38-14. Garden City makes it 28 in a row. They move to 4-0 in the season, and nobody on the Trojans varsity roster has yet to lose a game on the varsity or JV levels. We'll be back with the post-game wrap-up and the reaction from the field on Verizon Fios 1 Sports. Garden City able to pull away from Carey in the second half and move to 28 in a row and 4-0 on this 2018 season with the victory. Colin Hart, the senior quarterback for the Trojans, did it all. Throwing, catching a ball, and then also leading the way on the field. He is on the field now with Rich Donovan.
Colin, congratulations on a great win today as the Trojans beat Carey. Colin, it's interesting. Quarterback, we think of throwing, we think of running, but a key third down play when the quarterback throwback pass.
Yeah, we actually ran that play last year in the Long Island Championship. I threw that to Andrew DeSantis. It was the same play, but this time to Justin Coppola. So I was thinking back in my head, we can run that, and then Edinger called it out. I was like, oh, nice. And then, we scored on it, so big play.
Talk to us about the pregame, the week preparation leading up to this big rivalry against the Seahawks.
Yeah, it's always a crazy week. Everyone's trying to hustle around, get everything going. Fennell's always on the defense, Edinger on the offense, and then Coach Shaputian in the secondary. They're all great. They're all doing great. And so, we like to work, and then after that we do film and stuff like that. So
you have to be happy with a young, undersized, inexperienced offensive line. They've made some great progress.
Yeah, definitely. Especially from week one, we have definitely progressed. Going into the season, I didn't really think that we were going to have the same line as last year, but they've been proving me wrong. Sorry.
Well, good luck. You have a great lacrosse career ahead of you at Brown University, and now at 4-0, good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you very much.
Back to you, Ralph.
Thank you, Rich. The Trojans pulled away midway through the third quarter. Trevor Yaboa-Cody, a fourth and a foot and a half 57-yard touchdown run gave the Trojans all the separation they need. But then Colin Hart, 1-yard touchdown run, made it 31-14. And Garden City would never look back. They remain undefeated, and they continue to pursue a program record in terms of winning streak. It's 28 in a row dating back to the fall of 2015. 38-14 is today's final. This game was produced by Frank Lasquandro and directed by Dan Lippenholtz. And for my partner, Rich Donovan, I'm Ralph Bednarczyk, thanking you for watching Long Island High School football on Verizon Fios One Sports.
This has been a special presentation of Verizon Fios One Sports.